that Dagny and Reardon need to learn in Atlas Shrugged before they're ready to go on strike. And the one key thing that Dagny needs to learn is that the villains don't value their lives. They don't want to live. And they still want to live, don't they, she asks. Well, look at some of the passages in which they learn this. Here's a discussion between Reardon and his mother. Wait, don't go, Henry. Don't abandon us. Don't sentence us to perish. Whatever we are, we're human. We want to live. What does Reardon respond in quiet astonishment and horror? I don't think you do. So she doesn't want to live. If you did, you would have what? Known how to value me. So Reardon's family doesn't know how to value him, whatever that means. It's something that we want to think about. And that's connected to their not really wanting to live. Now again, Dagny's thoughts. This is when she's in Mr. Thompson's office, and she's faking being on the looters' side because Galt's been captured, and Galt has told her you're going to have to pretend you're with them because if they realize we're in love, they'll torture you. So what does Dagny, so Dagny's now faking, and she's finding it kind of weird to live in a kind of faked world, and as she's faking, nothing seems to matter. And she thinks this inanimate indifference was the permanent state of the people around her, of men who had no purpose and no passion. This was the state of a non-valuing soul. Those who chose it, she wondered, did they want to live? So again, the idea of valuing as a verb, something one chooses. Now again, Galt to Dagny. I think this passage is really fascinating. I love you more than life, I who have taught men how life is to be loved. I who have taught men how life is to be loved. Loving is a form of valuing, right? It's intent valuing. There's a how-to value that people don't know. And Galt, describing what he did, I think this is Galt describing his achievement, what he's taught men as a whole, which essentially means describing objectivism. And what is objectivism? It's, one way to describe it is the knowledge of how life is to be loved. So this idea of a how-to valuing, remains as something important enough in her that she's willing to have Galt characterize what he's done as teach men that. Now, there's a question as to whether he thinks of the whole of it as that, but I do think in a way it does summarize his whole message. And now finally, the notes for To Lorne Dieterlinck, a novel that she projected writing after Atlas Shrugged, though never did, she writes in her notes, the issue to think or not, which you'll recall from Atlas Shrugged and other places, is the locus of man's free will in her view, right? The issue to think or not, she writes, takes actual form existentially and psychologically in the issue to value or conform. So this way of thinking of valuing as an activity, as something which one has to know how to perform, as central to life, as related to passion, is not something that we merely find in her early notes, although it's absolutely pervasive in her journals through the Fountainhead period into the Atlas Shrugged period. It's something that persists in mature statements, even in Atlas Shrugged and afterwards, and is tied to really deep issues in the philosophy. What is it that Galt has taught men? Do the evil people want to live? What is this choice to think? And how does it confront us? Okay, so let's turn now to We the Living. What I'd like to do today